Good morning. Well, it's early hours of the morning. I've just got up, dropped mummy off at the hospital this morning, so I'm who's working. So I'm in between jobs at the moment. Just want to talk a little bit about the Middle East and what's going on. Qasem Soleimani, who's just been taken out by the Americans based on his ruthless activities as one of the major military leaders for Iran. A name no one probably heard of, or many people in this country will have heard of, up until yesterday when it hit the news headlines. And obviously it's hit the news headlines because there are those who are saying it's good and a good thing, another dangerous individual that's been taken out, against those who say, well, isn't this just going to create more tension and more issues in the Gulf or in the Middle East as a whole? And well, yes, I mean, I think one can see both sides and agree on both sides. I've got to say, with my time frame in the Middle East and experience and having seen so many wars start in the Middle East, I don't think this really does much to solve anything, personally. I mean, I think it's the fact I don't dispute that this guy was probably quite a nasty character when it came to taking out, people on the West who were in the military over there, and leading certain groups or advising certain groups in sort of the art of certain terror activities in certain parts of the world. I think no doubt he was a lethal instrument in the Iranian sort of military. But I think does taking him out mean there's going to be less of that out there? And I sort of say, well, no, it won't, because the fact is there'll be somebody else who will step into his shoes, and that will be someone else we'll have to get to know and learn more about, who will probably even come in with a different tactic that we've got to learn as well. So it becomes a little bit, does it work? I think this is all got to come, and military strength is not going to win the voice at the end. I think in Iran at the moment there are tensions on the ground with the people in Iran. There is a lot of dissatisfaction among the people of Iran in terms of how their rulers are looking after them in the country. And I think that, the rulers are putting a lot of emphasis on the reason why their lives are poor is because of the USA in particular putting sanctions on them, etc. But I think there's a lot more to it than that. I also think Iran is a more established country than any other country in the Middle East as far as its culture, its infrastructure, its strengths, its vastness in terms of geographic location. It's a vast country, so it's not a country that America and its allies would want to go into anyway and put troops on the ground. So there's no ways that there's going to be an invasion into Iran. A regime change of some kind, yes, of course they'd like to see that. There's no doubt. But I think it's very unlikely that there'll be boots on the ground. Air attacks of some kind, maybe. But I think it's, where does this go? Where's this really going to lead? Well, at the moment now, the boot's on their foot because they are going to retaliate for something that now the Americans have done. Now, how bad is that retaliation going to be? And when it does come, what are we going to do? Again, it's one of those sort of situations. I think it's something we have to learn from. Easier said, because I know we have different people in politics. Our PM, he hasn't made any statements yet. I'm sure we're going to have something in the next few hours with regards to the position. I know the Foreign Secretary has made a sort of a position in terms of just, calm down, guys, as it were. But I think we've got more going on than that. I think there's a need for very, very serious diplomatic debate with the right people around the table. Not something that can be easily achieved when you've got the Saudis on the one side of the Gulf, that are certainly very anti the Iranian force, but likewise, the Iranians are also very much more in the mould for encapturing the whole of that part of the world. They have influence in Afghanistan, they have influence in Syria, influence in Iraq, influence in Lebanon. They have a certain influence in places like Bahrain, with Shiite following and so on, and even in places like Qatar, and even in places in Kuwait, in areas of Kuwait. So there's an influence that's there. Okay, it's not in the Gulf side; it's more Sunni influence, but there is an influence, and I think it's that which they would wish to enhance, develop, strengthen, bolster, and get more majority thinking in that part of the world. Obviously, it's that part of the world where the American influence is as well. The Americans have got more influence in the GCC, as a Western power, than anyone else, and that's the other balance, and that's why I have a concern that could well be the target for any recourse action, and it's something to be aware of, definitely. Anyway, that's all I've got to say for now. Have a good day. Cheers.